Hello, everyone, and welcome to another match reaction show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for today's show. What a terrible performance and what a terrible result for Liverpool as we lost 1-0 to Tottenham Hotspur at Tottenham Stadium. Of course, it's the first leg, so it's not all and done, but considering the level of performance we produced today, it's not a welcome sight at all. So today we'll do a quick match review of the game. Not a lot to speak about as it was quite a boring game. And then we'll do the player ratings. It's also a calling show, so if you'd like to come on and have your say, feel free to hit the link that's pinned in the live chat, and I'll get people on after the player ratings. So let's start with the key moments of the first half. As I mentioned a little while ago, probably the most boring first half of the season from a Liverpool point of view, and not many chances created. Tottenham were very close to scoring early in the first half as they had a shot inside the box. Alisson does really well to react and parries the ball away for a corner. Salah also has a shot from outside of the box, but unfortunately he drags it wide. Simicas, who was on set piece duty, produces a decent free kick and hits a cross towards McAllister, who applies the header from close range. But in this moment, he hits it straight at the keeper. For me, maybe he should have done better there. Although I do understand that he was stretching for the ball in that moment. And after that, Liverpool produced a few half chances, and it all came through Gakpo. Gakpo was on a great run and on the left hand side, um, and this sort of low cross in the middle of the box. Vick was trying to aim for McAllister, but Salah ends up taking the ball away from him and ends up stabbing a right foot shot over the bar. Should have left it for Mac Tender. That was his chance to hit the shot on target. Gakpo then hits Spurs on the counter attack as he drives with the ball, gives the goalkeeper a bit of a test. He looked shaky in the first half, but he definitely improved and probably had a better performance later on in the second half. He just about has a shot on goal and he produces a save. And in the last attack of the first half, Gakpo finds himself in the same position where he scored against Manchester United on Sunday, but this time round, his shot goes over the bar, and that was the first half. Now, in terms of the second half, Alisson loses the ball and gives the Spurs a golden opportunity. Calamity of a moment there. Thankfully, Van Dijk is able to make a crucial block to avoid conceding a goal. Simicas produces a great cross for Darwin Nunes, who's just come off the bench, but he's only able to head the ball on target. A difficult one to score as he was pretty much on the edge of the box. So, if you consider the distance, not the easiest of goals to score. Then moments later, Mohamed Salah hits a through ball towards Darwin Nunes. He's through on goal, hits a first time shot, saved by Kinski. Trent, who's also just come off the bench, produces an exquisite shot towards goal. But unfortunately, it's cleared on the line by Dragusin. Gravenberch has a moment where he has a long shot from a counter attack. Unfortunately, he hits it straight at the keeper. Now, you know, I have to mention it. The big talking point of the game, Bergvall, who was previously booked for his foul on Diaz, commits a second foul, and this time it was on Simicas. And quite frankly, should have received a second yellow. But due to Liverpool being given an advantage, the incident was not revisited by VAR, which for me is the incorrect decision. I know the letter of the law might suggest something else, but common sense needs to be brought into this sort of situation, and he should have received a second yellow and would have been dismissed from the pitch. But that very same guy ends up scoring the match winner. Solanke manages to barge Konate out of the way. He squares the ball to Bergwijn, who drives in and hits the low shot with real conviction to rattle the back of the net. Van Dijk and Slot were furious with regards to that decision of the goal obviously happening, but that due to the fact that Bergwijn was still on the pitch, and rightly so. And that pretty much sums up the second half and the whole game. I'll be honest with you guys, I did a live watch along. I'm giving myself a pat on the back because I feel like I did well to even stay awake. It was such a boring game. No real tempo played. It felt like a training game more than anything else. Um, but look, a ball fest yesterday. The result, not what we wanted, but it's only half time. This is the first leg of a two-legged affair. we play Tottenham at Anfield on the 6th of February. So hopefully we can smash them at home in the second leg and progress into the final. But until then, we've got a lot of games coming up, so we'll focus on that. But for now, what we'll do is we'll do the player rating. And then once I do a player rating, we'll go through the comments. And if there's any callers, I'll bring the callers on as well. So let's start with the player rating. Allison, not the best of games from Allison, to be fair. Now, some fans will say he probably should have started because it's normally Kelleher who starts in these Carabao Cup games. And, hindsight is a thing. I did have an inkling that he was going to start just based on the comment he made in the press conference about selecting goalkeepers because the journalist mentioned that this is Kelleher's tournament, and the responsible answer was in the line that I'm going to do what's best in terms of who we're facing. So that gave me the insight that because this is a semi-final match, I think he'd want to play his best players, and that's why he went for Allison. So for me, that's why he ended up starting this game. Some will say he shouldn't have, but that's everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't think it was the worst decision to play Allison, to be fair. Um, First half, he was all right. He produced a save that, could have easily have gone in, made a woeful error where it almost cost us, and it involved Bergvall, of all people, again. Distribution wasn't great today, if I'm being honest. He put me on edge for the wrong reasons. Um, Released the ball very late, put defenders in high pressure positions where they're getting pressed on by the attackers. And yeah, it made it very uncomfortable in the back. So for me, not a great game from Allison. Not a terrible game either. Obviously, he produced one or two saves, but nothing that really stood out for me. So I'll give him an average rating of 6 out of 10. Bradley, who for me was a surprise inclusion to the squad. I thought Trent would have started, but despite that, I think Bradley had a good game. Definitely did his thing in terms of attack from an attacking point of view, tried to help out, attack that flank quite a few times. Defensively was okay. I don't think it was his best today. There were definitely moments where he was left isolated and he let players go by quite quickly. But overall, I thought he had a decent game considering the opposition and considering what was at task because he had Heung-min Son. Um, so I thought he did okay. I think out of all the other defenders, he probably had the better game out of all of them. So for that, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Kwanzaa, unfortunately, left the pitch quite early on in the first half. Was quite surprised with his uh, injury or the moment, I should say, because it didn't like he pulled the muscle or anything. He wasn't holding on to anything. He kept on holding on to his chest. So we've come to realize now that he's actually ill. So he wasn't feeling great on the pitch. So that's why he was taken off. So I guess it's good news, obviously, that it's just an illness that led him to depart from the pitch. So he should be, hopefully feels better and should be in contention to play in the upcoming game, especially we've got Accrington Stanley. I feel like he will be utilized for that one if he's, fit enough to play. So thankfully, he's not injured. Because right now we're trading with thin ice. We don't have a lot of centre backs available in the squad. But in terms of his performance, he looked nervous. I'll definitely say that. But he didn't have a poor game. He didn't give the ball away or anything like that. His distribution was slightly off. Um, but yeah, he didn't really have a poor start or anything. I think he's just finding his rhythm. He looks nervous now. I think it's due to lack of confidence. But for the short cameo they made, I'll give him a rating of 5 out of 10. Give him an average rating. I don't think it was great, and I don't think it was bad either. Virgil for me was probably our top performer today, in my opinion. Defensively solid, won all or not all. I would say there were a couple of moments where Solanke won the aerial duels, but definitely more dominant in that part of the pitch. Didn't really. Get destroyed in any shape or form. I know Brennan Johnson tried to attack him on that side because he had to cover for Simicast as well. So I thought he was quite good today from a point of view where we didn't have a lot of good performance to be fair, but um, so I guess he's probably a good player out of a bad bunch, unfortunately. So for me, in terms of today's performance, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Might sound quite high actually. But for me, he stood out. He was clear above everyone else. Um, he was asked what was required from him, led from the back. Unfortunately, you know, other players didn't help him out. And also he made that crucial block where Allison made that error. So had that gone in, it would have been a 2-0 lead. So for me, a good performance from Van Dijk, which I don't think he'll take too much joy out of because end of the day the result is not what we wanted. Simicast looked rusty, very rusty in this game, and it shows because he hasn't played much in recent weeks. That's why I feel like Arnstad needs to start utilizing his squad a little bit more, start playing a lot more players, give them more minutes. Because right now, a lot of our players, they're either returning from injury or they're pretty much solidified as squad players and they're not getting enough time. So they're not maintaining match fitness. And that's a concern going forward. Today, I thought he was very average. His passing from open play wasn't the best. Produced one or two decent crosses, but very inconsistent on that ground as well. And defensively looked shaky for me. Um, Left acres of space, and Van Dijk ended up covering him quite a few times. Um, Brennan Johnson definitely got past him on a number of occasions, so not the best of games from Simicast. So I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. I thought he was okay at best. Not a great performance, in my opinion. Ravensburg, for me, probably had one of his poor performances, if I'm being honest. I don't think he really stood out. Gave the ball away quite a few times. Passing wasn't quite there. Wasn't as energetic as before, so that might be a sign that he needs to be rotated a little bit more now. Maybe it's come back to him in terms of he's feeling a little bit tired, a little bit jaded, not fresh when it comes to roaming around the pitch. So for me, very very average performance today. So I'm gonna give him. I think it was better than Simicast, so I'm gonna give him a slight edge on that and give him a 6 out of 10. McAllister was probably the better midfielder for me. Had a couple of chances to score as well. Wasn't able to take it, but I think he controlled the midfield a bit better. I think we certainly missed him when he was taken on because we just lacked any control at middle of the park. Passing range was good. So overall, a decent game from him. Not as great as his performance against United, where I thought he was spectacular. But for this game, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Now, Jones, some fans were very surprised I even mentioned Jones in the starting lineup because he had a really poor performance against Manchester United. But I thought, based on the opposition in terms of the players that I thought were going to be selected, which ended up being Basuma Bentancur, I feel like he would have bowled well against those two rather than Harvey Elliott, who I thought would, probably struggle from a physical point of view. But Jones did not have a good game today. He was anonymous for most part. Second half, honestly, I did not know he was on the pitch. I think I was screaming out for uh, Jones to be substituted for like around the hour mark, and after the hour mark went, and I realized Elliot didn't come on. I kind of lost track in terms of where Jones was, and I was seeing pop up towards the last scene, thinking, "Oh my gosh, he's still there." So he wasn't involved in the second half. First half did okay, nothing spectacular. Kept the ball neat and tidy, but with no real input, no real impact. And when you're playing at number 10, you've got to be the guy that wants the ball on every occasion. You can't shy away. You've got to really showcase yourself. I don't think that he does enough in that position. Or he hasn't been doing it in the last 2, 3 weeks. So for me, very, very poor performance today. I'm going to actually give him a 3 out of 10. That might seem quite harsh, but feel free to give me your scores and let me know what you guys think. Salah had another average game today, very quiet. In terms of being a goal threat, not a lot of shots on goal. He's more of a creator today. Supplied some good through balls for other players, but other than that, pretty much anonymous today. Wasn't really highly involved today, and that's a concern because when Salah is not able to get these clutch moments, our other players are not stepping up. Jones didn't step up today. Gakpo for me was probably our more involved attacker in terms of trying to make things happen. So I wouldn't think Gakpo had a better game than Salah, and your Jota for me just isn't quite there yet. So we're highly dependent on Salah's clutch moment. That's a concern. We shouldn't really be, depending on the players so much to, break us out of jail on every occasion. That shouldn't be how Liverpool plays. So no, something that the team have to improve on collectively. So in terms of Mohamed Salah score today, I'll give him a 5 out of 10. I don't think there's a high rating today. Gakpo, I think, was the better attacker out of all of our players today. Um, in the first half, he was the one that was really trying to make things happen. I don't think he should have been taken off. I understand, Arnold wanted to change a few things and refresh the squad a little bit, but he was our better player, and I don't think I personally wouldn't have played Diaz today. I think Diaz should have just been rested for the Forest game and let Gakpo continue because he was showing a good range, a good bit of form. Uh, the only goal threat, in my opinion, in this team. So I would have taken him. So I was quite disappointed to see that. But in terms of his performance, decent impact, decent impression on the game. He gets a 7 out of 10 for me. Jota, probably his first start in quite a few weeks. Didn't have the best of games to be fair. Gave the ball away quite a few occasions. Had one or two good ones. I remember him doing a cheeky nutmeg, I think it was on Bissouma. So he had that kind of impression where he did one or two cool things, but overall play wasn't good today. Wasn't much of a goal threat. A bit all over the place. Like he didn't really have an idea to how he wanted to play today. He was just kind of chasing the ball a bit headlessly, and that, yeah, didn't have any impact on the game, unfortunately. So for me, uh, I don't think he was. I think he was slightly worse than Salah, and that's my opinion. So I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. That is my rating there. Feel free to drop your comments and let me know what your ratings are for each player. What I'll do now is I will bring on the substitutes and keep them their ratings today as well. So Endo came on for Kwanzaa, so let's remove Kwanzaa and bring on Endo. And then we have who else came on as well? So we have Diaz on for Gakpo, Darwin Nunes for Jota, Trent for Conor Bradley, and Callister for Ibu. One, two, there we go. So we'll switch over Mate for Endo. There you go. So let's start with Endo because Endo ended up playing the most minutes. Obviously, now I've got him in a defensive midfield role, but he played most of the game in centre back, and I thought he actually did a good job. Passing range wasn't great though. And I remember him doing a couple of long passes. There was one in particular where it was literally in between Simicast and I think it was Jota at the time, and it just went through in between both of them. So long range passing, yeah, it's not really his game. But other than that, kept it simple when he did do short passes, strong in the tackle when required. So I feel like we look solid with him alongside Van Dijk. I'm not saying he's a long term solution or anything of that nature, but putting a decent shift down. It was good to see him get some minutes as well. He ended up playing about an hour. So good to see him in action. So for me, I actually thought he had a decent game. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Who's next on my list? Diaz. Diaz got on the ball quite a bit. He was very direct today, but for me, he just didn't have the end product in terms of finding the right pass, the right crosses. Had a couple of chances to shoot and just overplayed it. And that's one of his weaknesses where feel like sometimes there's a bit too much. There's moments where he should release the ball, or there's a slight opening, maybe take a shot on goal, and he just has an extra 2, 3 touches, ends up killing a bit of the momentum, or he goes into an area where it's a bit more congested. It's more difficult to find a pass or release the ball in that moment. So not as impactful as we have seen him this season. So for me, I'm giving him. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Nunes was had a couple of shots on goal. So I remember the one where um I actually had two free shots. So the one where Tsimikas produced the cross, had the header. That was quite a difficult one. You have to really, use your neck muscles and apply power on those type of headers. And yeah, he got it on target, and that's probably the best he could have done in that moment. Then he had that chance with Salah produced a through ball. First time shot straight at the keeper. He didn't have a lot of room to kind of guide it to the other corner. So in that moment, you do just go for an instinctive finish, which was fine. And then he had that moment towards the end where he had another shot as well. I didn't see the replay. It was like a very unorthodox type of finish. Um, like he was facing the goal, but he ended up shooting with his left foot. So it's quite a bizarre one. Almost scored, to be fair. The keeper was really stretching to make that block and end up doing it in the end. So that gonna, it's a different conversation. But I thought he was alright. I didn't think he was, was bad. Like he really helped out from a pressing point of view, um, and helped out defensively on a couple of occasions. So he had a decent cameo. Nothing too great, nothing that bad. So I'm gonna give him a 6 out of 10 as well. Um, I'd actually give Diaz 5. I think 6 is a bit too high. I think Nunes had a better cameo than Diaz. Um, and Trent, when he came on, he certainly um, had a huge impression on the game. Uh, Positivity in terms of his distribution. Anytime he got the ball, he's trying to ping it into the 6 yard box. So definitely gave us a bit more of a creative spark, gave us a bit more of an ammunition from a defensive position in terms of spraying balls around. So he definitely had an impact on the team. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to capitalize. So in terms of Trent's performance, I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Who else do we have? And we've got Konate. Look, I feel for Konate because I was saying it throughout the whole time during my watch along, I don't want him on the pitch because he's not fully fit. It was quite obvious against Manchester United that he was overused. He was probably not expected to play the hour, but due to how the game panned out, we end up, you know, allowing to play the full 90 minutes plus extra time as well. I didn't want him anywhere near the team today. I know he was selected on the bench, but I thought that was just for formality to have squad players rather than him being available to play. So when Endo came off of Kwanzaa, I was pleased. So I thought maybe Armstrong is thinking the same thing and thinking we don't need to risk him in this game. But I think when Werner came on for Tottenham, and that was one thing I highlighted in my match preview, Werner was always going to come on at some stage of this game and try and attack Trent because he's got pace for days. He might not be the most clinical finishers, but he's got pace to burn. And Trent found out he got past him on a couple of occasions. So I thought that's why he thought to cover Trent, we have to bring on Konate who can, do a job where he's playing centre back and can also cover him at right back when Trent goes a bit more further up because we needed his attacking um, ability today. We needed his final ball. We needed delivery a lot more, so he had a bit more of a free roam further up on the pitch. But unfortunately, Konate was poor. The goal that was, the match winner in the end, he got easily pushed out of the way by Solanke. Still had his knees strapped as well, so it's a concern. But for me, look, I don't want it to be where I'm blaming Konate because I just don't feel like he was ready to play today. But I have to go based on what I saw on the pitch, and it wasn't good. So for me, he gets a 3 out of 10. I do believe he was at fault for the goal. Should have better defensively. Should have used his power, his muscle a little bit better. And yeah, it just wasn't to be, unfortunately. So that is my player ratings. Let me know what you guys think in the comment. Just gonna go through the comments and then we can close the show. So let's start with the first comment. Daz says, "Big up Ozzy, big up Daz. Thank you for your comment and thank you for tuning in." And Nick says, "All right, all right, all right." Bit of a Kevin Hart moment there. Big up yourself, Nick. Um, he said, "Nick Ozzy, the Aussie manager won." Yeah, he did. He did win. Yeah, and he was beaming afterwards. He had a huge smile in the post interview. So yeah, very annoying. But it is what it is. Abdul says, hi, Ozzy and chat. Assalamu alaikum. How you're doing? Welcome salam to you, Abdul. We're doing okay. Sitting what we witnessed. But yeah, big up yourself. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for tuning in. He says, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bless up everyone. Many thanks. Big up yourself, Abdul. And Abdul says, this is a wake up call that we need DM in January. It's up to the owners to cough up the money. I agree, Abdul. Today just goes to show we need a DM and a centre back because we're in a tricky situation where we don't have many fully fit centre backs. We've only got one that's technically fully fit, and that's Van Dijk. Konate still for me is not match fit. Kwanzaa's ill, so I don't know how long he's going to be out for. And then Joe Gomez is out for the foreseeable future, maybe a few weeks out of action. So I'd probably say a centre back seems more priority than a midfielder right now. But we'll see. Will it happen? Honestly, I doubt it. But this is a time for FSG to stand up and actually, make a couple of additions to the team because it will be needed right now. We're struggling as a team in terms of numbers, and we need to try and definitely add some bodies to our squad because right now, one fit centre back, as I mentioned, midfield it's looking like Gravenberch's burning out for me a little bit, and it's going to be where we need to rotate him a lot more. But unfortunately, Arsenal does not have enough faith in Endo to play him on a regular basis. So there's a lot of players I don't think Arsenal trust, but it is what it is. So we'll see what happens in the January window. Uh, Abdul says, "What was Jones, Salah, Allison, Kwanzaa, Konate, Nunes, and Zimika doing in the game?" No, none of them had great games. To be fair, Jones was quite poor today. Really, really poor. Anonymous. It would probably be the word I'd describe him. Salah, not much of a goal threat. Did provide some sort of creative moments with through balls, but otherwise, no, he wasn't involved as much. Allison, yeah, Allison just had a bit of a couple of he has those moments, doesn't he? He produces those calamity type moments where he's too complacent on the ball and it ended up nearly being costly for us. Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa wasn't too bad. He only played about half an hour, but I think with Kwanzaa, he looked nervous, and that's just due to lack of form, unfortunately. Kanate, he's not fully fit. He should have been on the pitch, full stop. But for me, Arsenal, had to make that choice due to Werner's impact when he came on, and Trent was struggling because he went past him a couple of occasions. Nunes did all right. I don't think Nunes was bad today. In terms of what he brought to the pitch, he had a couple of shots on goal. Yeah, nothing more I could have. So Nunes, I wouldn't have said he was bad today. I know a lot of fans seem to bash on Nunes if we don't get the win. He's not the main focus in my opinion. I don't think he's anything bad. Simicast looked rusty. Um, just doesn't look fully fit. Obviously, he can only get fit by playing week in week out. Whether it's extensive cameos from the bench, he needs to try and regain that match fitness because right now a lot of our players are looking a bit jaded, and that's a concern. That is a big concern going forward. Abdul says we need left back, right back, DM, and number 9 to win trophies this season. Looks like you've added right back to your list there, Abdul. Because I always remember you saying left back, DM, and number 9. So yeah, I wouldn't say we need to sign a right back right now. I think a centre back and a DM would be the main priorities for me in this month. Two of these sort of additions would help our squad right now. Whether it happens, look, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not optimistic, unfortunately, on that one, but we'll soon find out, I'm sure. Abdul said we didn't test the new Spurs keeper. We didn't. He looked very shaky in the first half, and I feel like we should have taken a few long shots on him. Because even the one that Gakpo took in the first half, he just about caught the ball, like spilled it as well, to be fair. But that's the moment where, he's a young keeper, he's just signed for the club. Got to try and test him. We didn't do enough, in my opinion. That's asking, do you think Jones starts on Saturday or Dominic Szoboszlai? So I'm not sure in terms of if Szoboszlai will be available. If he is fully fit, I personally wouldn't start Szoboszlai this weekend. Jones, for me, I wouldn't even start him on Saturday. I'd rather have him on the bench and give Harvey Elliott some game time because I'm very surprised Harvey Elliott didn't play today. We were calling out for Harvey Elliott to come off the bench. You just needed that type of player to come on and have an impact. Whether he creates something out of nothing or as that creative spark with a through ball or something like that. We needed that from the bench, and Armstrong didn't go for that. So for me, Harvey Elliott has to play against Accrington Stanley. If he doesn't play against them, then when is he going to play? So that is a concern that Armstrong doesn't seem to utilize Harvey Elliott that much. So let's see. I expect Elliott to start against Accrington Stanley. Dessa, do we know how long Kwanzaa will be out for? Not too sure, to be fair. I know it's illness because even at the time he was holding his stomach and it was his chest and he just didn't look right. So for me, it didn't look like it was a muscle injury in the legs or anything to that nature. So who knows if it's like a flu or if it's like I don't know what type of illness he has. Um, I can't say. We'll just have to find out in the coming days, I guess. I'm sure we'll get an update possibly tomorrow or Friday, depending on. I think the press conference will be on Friday, so we'll just wait until then. Um, who do you put up top? And so you're referring to Accrington Stanley game. Either Nunes or Dan's. I need. I think Dan's deserves to have something. Probably Nunes, just so we can kill them off in the first half to avoid any embarrassment, and then bring Dan's on in the second half. But we'll do the match review tomorrow, and I'll speak a little bit more detail about the team selection. But it's going to be a mix of squad players plus youth players, in my opinion. I don't want to see any real first teamers playing in that game. I don't feel like it's that important to utilize the squad in that manner. So. But that's just my opinion there. So that's the last comment here. I see we have a call at the back, so let me bring him on. Big up to Uncle Roz. Uncle Roz,
What
how
are
you
you
doing?
saying, King?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, you know. I
Yeah,
think the game there was a mixture of like obviously bad decisions from the referee
yeah.
because the guy that actually scored and they shouldn't have been on the pitch.
You
Do
should
you
be
know
on
what
the
I mean?
pitch. You're right. Yeah, spot on.
And I've always got this saying and day like, come on, I'm old school. I'm old school for that. I've always got this saying and day from the old school: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now there was no need for. I was trying to explain to people in the group there was no need for Slot to do those substitutions because at that present time, anything. Yes, we weren't playing well, yeah, but it
yeah,
was still 0-0, yeah.
yeah.
However, if we went a goal down, yes, then you can bring on those subs and everything that
Exactly.
and try and get back into the game. But at
Mm,
that present point in it, you didn't need to.
mm.
You could have took a 0-0 and gone back to Anfield and really put it on them at Anfield. Do you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
I don't know why he took off. I don't know why he took off Bradley because Bradley
yeah.
wasn't injured or anything like that.
Uh,
He was doing all right. Give him 90
uh,
minutes, man. You know what I mean?
mm,
Yeah. You brought on Trent in the day, right? Trent, Nunes, and Diaz. Right. I thought it was only gonna be Nunes and Diaz. Yeah.
yeah.
They put on Trent on. I didn't actually think that we was gonna see Trent so soon after Sunday. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
I thought that nigga said like, brother, sit down. You know what I mean? Get your head straight, obviously with the contract business and all that. And
yeah.
that they learn to defend, yeah? As you pointed out today, the
Uh,
only reason he brought on Kanati is because bloody
Werner.
Werner was running past him. So now we have to bring on somebody at the end of the day that's not really match fit. What I'd rather happen at the end of the day is like you played Kanati on Saturday. Do you know
Mm,
what I mean? In that FA Cup game, just to get him match fit. Do you know what I mean? I know
yeah,
at the end of the day we don't want a lot of first team players, but I would have
yeah.
played him specifically at the end of the day to get him match fit.
That's
Do you
fair.
understand?
Yeah,
That would
that's
be
just
the
fair.
ideal perfect game for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could have even made him the captain or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then, and that'd have been ideal for him. But you brought him on this game, yeah. You've taken Endo out from a position that he was doing well in.
he was.
I mean, because our problem started when Endo come out of defence and went into midfield, and he got Kanati in there. Do
Yeah,
you
and
understand what
McAllister
I'm saying?
came off as well, and he was for me had a decent game at that
Exactly.
time as well.
So
Mm,
why, in God's name and day, right, are you fixing something that's not broke? It's like me
hmm.
taking my car at the end of the day, right, to a mechanic. Yeah,
Yeah,
take my car to a mechanic and that, and the mechanic goes to me, okay, what's wrong? What's wrong with the car? How can I fix the car? What's wrong with it? And I tell
yeah.
him nothing, nothing. The first
Just
thing
check.
he'll say, the first thing he'll turn around to me and say, well, what have we brought here for? Well, I don't know. I
Yeah,
just want it fixed. Do
just
you
have a look
understand what I'm
at
saying?
it.
Do you see how
Yeah,
ludicrous that sounds?
mm,
Do you know what I mean? You've chopped
yeah,
and changed the team at the end of the day when you shouldn't even bother touching it. Just
yeah.
leave it. And this is what I've been alluding to at the end of the day.
Mm,
I heard that we got getting Harley slot. I said that the end of the day he hasn't got that experience that we need not coming off of Klopp. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Not coming off of, if it's off of Brendan Rodgers, I can understand. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been like a level up. But
Yeah.
this is coming off one of the greatest managers that we've had in the history of Liverpool. Because you've had the likes of Bill Shankly, Bob Paisley, Joe Fagan,
Mm.
Kenny Dalglish, yeah, and now you got this guy, this German guy, come along and
Mm.
revolutionised Liverpool. He
Yeah.
brought us out of the dark and into the light. You know, that's what a lot of
He
people
did.
got to realize. Yeah, and the only one of the main reasons why Arne Slot is having such a success is what Klopp has left him. Do you understand what I'm saying? Had Slot been left a team that Brendan Rodgers left, Brendan Rodgers left, so
Mm.
like Klopp, I think we're probably in the relegation zone, my friend. Do you know what I mean? Because there wasn't
Mm.
really any sort of like standout players there. But you
No.
got standout players there. You picked a team in the day. It's working. It's working. Nothing's happening. Yes, at the end of the day, we couldn't get that goal. We could, you know, the likes of Jones and
Yeah. Yeah.
us Jones could more like play better, but we wasn't losing. Do you see what I'm
Mm.
saying there? Salah could have played better. We wasn't losing. Allison
Yeah.
could probably be a bit more sort of like you know, bit more like reactions could be more faster. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But at that present time, we wasn't losing. It's only when you done the changes at the day, right, that the team started to look disjointed, and we started to
Yeah.
give away the ball and not winning the second ball, and like people like Tim and Werner were getting behind Trent.
Yeah.
Same old sort of like problems that we have with Trent. You're bringing them back again after Sunday. Too soon,
Mm.
man. Too soon to bring back Trent back in a folding for. Yes, at the end of the day, he probably played better at the end of the day, sort of like than what he did on Sunday. He
Yeah.
probably played better, but still at the end of the day, right? There were still those problems there that
Mm.
you had to bring on Kanate in the day that is literally not really match fit. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And like a match fit Kanate in the day, that doesn't happen to him against Solanke.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
really and truly, in the day, right? If you look at what Arnie Slot's done today, he's part of the reason why we lost. I'm not saying it's the whole reason, yeah, but he's
Yeah.
part of the reason why we lost because the fact in the day, why are you changing something that's not broken? Do you know what I mean? You're down in London on a Wednesday night playing in the Carabao Cup Semi-Final. It's 0-0 and that. Take a 0-0, right? There's no shame in that. Take a 0-0, right? Yeah, and go back to Merseyside and everything now. And when they come sort of like 4 weeks later, you stick it on them.
Yeah.
Then you take a risk and but listen, man. It kind of vexed me when he started
Yeah.
to change up. So what are you doing?
Mm. What surprised me as well was that he made 3 substitutions at one time. He very rarely does that. And in games where we need like a lot of subs, he doesn't do it. So
Yeah,
for me, it was quite a surprise that he brought on all 3 attackers. Don't get me wrong, when I did my sort of halftime film watching, I did mention a few players that could come on, but I wasn't expecting 3 at one point. And at that moment as well, because you always have to look at what the game is saying at the time, what is happening in the game. At that stage, yes, it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was a very boring game. But the thing is, there wasn't anything to suggest that we were going to concede. I feel
yeah.
like once you change a centre back to play midfield, and when you're like moving pieces around too much, you use the word disjointed. That's exactly what happened. We were
Yeah,
disjointed
yeah, we looked
as a team.
disjointed. We literally looked like we was going to concede. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We've gone from not looking like we're conceding, yeah,
yeah,
to looking like we're going to concede. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, what people will understand, they right, is Spurs are always going to be strong at home because they're at home, so they're going to put on a big boy performance. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So be prepared for that. Do you know what I mean? Be prepared for them to put on a performance. Be prepared at the day for a situation where, like, what happened last time when you beat them 6-3, it's not going to happen again.
it doesn't happen all the time.
It's not going to
Yeah,
come again. So really and truly, at the day, right, in these sort of like competitions, that you take what you can get and get out. That's what they
Yeah.
used to do, and that's why and they sort of like we was able to back in the day to win the this league cup. Because remember, it's always had different names. There's like Milk Cup, Rumbelows Cup, and so on. You know what I mean? I was telling something that the other day. They didn't believe me. It was called Rumbelows Cup, you know, and it was Rumbelows Cup, and so on, so on. Right? So
Yeah.
whilst the thing is at the day, so why we was able to win these competitions because what we did at the day is that when we went away from home
Yeah.
in this competition and day, right, we went and got what we could get. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got what we can get and get out. If it was a draw, we got a draw and we got out. And then when they came to Anfield, we just mullered them. Do you know what I mean?
It was an away game today as well. So
Yeah,
generally, if you get a 0-0, it's not considered as a bad result. It's like fine, it's an even result. You can do the damage at home when you face them in the second leg. I feel like
exactly.
because of that 6-3 win, I feel like the expectations were different. We were expected to smash them again, and unfortunately, that is probably naive from this team to expect that, Tottenham are going to play the same way that they played a few weeks ago. Yes, it
Facts.
wasn't the team was pretty much similar, but I'm sure they would have learnt their lesson to an extent, right? Whether it's, being a bit more of a compact as a defensive unit or having more bodies in midfield, they definitely altered their game today. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
always going to be a difficult, not difficult, but it's always going to be a different proposition. It was going to be a different type of game. It wasn't going to be end to end
yeah,
because
yeah.
that game, it was full on attack from both teams in the opening 10 minutes. We saw nothing like that today. It was nothing to that nature.
A bit more.
Very boring game today, you know?
It was a bit more thing, was it? It was a bit more cautious.
Yes, very
Cautious.
close
A bit
for
more
both
cautious.
teams.
It's a bit more cautious from both teams in there because
Yeah,
neither one wanted to sort of like make a mistake. So
mistake.
saying that, looking at I only stopped looking at that. Should have felt so for you know what in the day, right? You know, it's working at the moment. What we're doing
Yeah,
in the day, we may not be playing well, but it's working at the moment. So yes, just leave it as it is. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If at the end of the day, sort of like, in the 85th minute, you decided at the day that you want to bring on Darwin Nunes and sort of like Darwin Nunes and Luis Diaz, then fair
yeah,
enough. But
yeah,
the midfield and the defense, you should not have messed with that. You should have just left that alone because it was working. Because I'll tell you what, arguably at the end of the day, Endo did better in defense than what Kanate did. He
yeah.
was
He did.
getting back, heading balls out, tackling, and all sorts. He was doing better than what Kanate was. That's why I can't understand why you want to push him back in midfield, push him to midfield, didn't they, right?
Yeah.
Because you've had all season at the day to play him in midfield. And you
And he
played
had a
him
bit
in
back.
midfield. Yeah, you played him in midfield once. And today was the second time, yeah, right?
Yeah,
So what was the urgency at the day of playing him in midfield today? You wasn't this is what gets me, you wasn't losing. You
no,
wasn't losing the game. It was a draw. Why are you taking unnecessary risk, right? And that
yeah.
shows me in the day, right? His lack of inexperience.
It's
And the thing
experience.
is that he hasn't learned from Sunday, you know.
Mm,
He hasn't learned from Sunday what's happened on Sunday at
mm.
home. He hasn't learned from Sunday, right? He's taking the same risk again in playing Trent. Do you know what I mean? Playing Trent, and all other people gonna think about now, and they, oh well, he had a good shot on goal. He never scored, did he?
No.
He never scored,
Yeah.
and he was still leaving spaces behind him. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
That's the concern. So I understood why Trent came on because Bradley was having a good game. I don't think it was anything to do with Bradley's performance. I think it was more so that the game was quite flat at the time, so we needed a creative spark from somewhere. So Trent was
Risk.
probably our most creative player on the bench that was available. So I understood why he brought him on. But when that happened, I had an inkling at the time that Werner was going to come on because that is something that Ange Postecoglou would have kind of tried to figure out that, you know what,
Yeah,
he's not in good form. Let's put a direct player on him and see what happens. And that's what ended up happening. So the Trent one, I don't think that was too much of a big deal for me. It was the moving of Endo and I just feel like that was so unnecessary at the time because Endo's come in, around that half hour mark. He's pretty much settled in that centre back position. It's not his natural position, but he's looked solid. So
mm,
why are you moving him around? In a part of the time where I don't feel like we needed to alter the shape like that.
exactly.
Maybe add one or two attackers to have a bit more of a goal threat. Or, just bring on someone that will create something out of nothing. I really wanted Elliot to come in this game. I feel like it
Yeah,
suited
why did he bring Eddie
Harvey
on?
Elliott to come on. He didn't even come on.
Chiesa.
Chiesa, yeah, that's another player I mentioned. Just give him a few minutes, or I don't know.
But
I
you know what
don't
it
know
is,
what
though?
happened
Do you know
there.
what it is? The
Mm.
reason why he had to bring Kanai on, it's like what you've alluded to.
Yeah,
What
the
you've
one,
alluded, you've
yeah,
alluded to the fact that the day that Werner was getting behind it, so you had to bring on extra insurance at the day, so Werner couldn't like do that. So his extra insurance was a Kanate because he's expecting Kanate at the day to sort of like obviously cover for him. Do you know what I mean? The same
yeah,
again as like what happened on Sunday. Do you understand what I'm getting at? So really
mm,
and truly at the day, right? What he should have done is just not mess with that back four completely.
yeah,
I'm talking about sort of like Conor Bradley and they playing the 90 minutes because that's what you got him there for. Playing the 90 minutes, that whole back four, right? Obviously, Quans had to go off because he wasn't feel
yeah,
well. He was ill, yeah. So
yeah,
he's gone off for them for that. You got the perfect replacement in Endo, and then it was working. It fit like a glove, my friend. This is the frustrating thing about it. That back four and they was sorted. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
solid.
It was
Time,
sorted
yeah,
because I haven't really, to be fair, I haven't got that sort of like much confidence in Kwanzaa. I think at the day he needs to go on loan. You know what I mean? Go on loan somewhere, and you know what I mean, just to sort of like get himself up a bit. Do you know what I mean?
discover himself again. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
you know what I mean. I don't dislike him. I don't even think he's a shit player. I think he's a good player, but I think he needs to go on loan. A bit what Harvey Elliott
Experience.
done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Harvey Elliott done went alone and he come back bigger and better. Do you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Right?
yeah,
Just do something like that. But like what it is at the end of the day, right? The whole back four at the end of the day, right? From like you had Tashimikas was having a good game. I thought Tashimikas had a good game. Yeah.
mm. I think he looks rusty today, though. But I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
due
because he
to
ain't played for a while, innit? Yeah.
yeah,
He ain't played for a while. But on the whole, he wasn't too bad. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. So Tashimikas was having a reasonably good game. Then you
yeah,
had sort of like Virgil van Dijk was having Virgil van
solid.
Dijk, you know what you get
Yeah,
from him. Endo
yeah,
at the end of the day, what fit in that system like a glove.
like a
Yeah.
glow. Yeah,
Conor Bradley at the end of the day was having a good game as well. Do you know what I mean?
he's
Not
solid.
many things are
Yeah,
getting past him in that, right?
yeah,
This is what I can't understand for what I call you first thing, yeah. This is what I
yeah,
can't understand, Ozzie. Yeah.
yeah.
Why would you change it? What can you think, yeah, of
Mm.
a defining reason why you would have meddled with that? Because that's what it is. It's meddling. You've
Yeah,
meddled with it, and it's just gone tits up. Excuse my
yeah.
language.
I think, especially when you like the fullback positions, if you want to change personnel, I understand because different players bring different things to the table. But you never mess around with centre back positions unless there's an injury, like we did earlier, where Konsa had to get taken off. If
Yeah,
Endo's come in there to be his replacement, he needs to play the whole game in that position. You
yeah,
can't move him to midfield and bring Konate. Obviously, Konate is the better defender. We all know that, but currently he's not fully fit, and
no,
he's been he went through the walls against Manchester United. Like he had to do a two-man shift. He was covering Trent for most of the game as well. So that is my concern. I just feel like you pretty much said it earlier on. I feel like he was trying to. I feel like he's trying to overthink a bit too much. I feel he was trying to move things around that didn't need to be done, and I feel like, not saying it cost us. Obviously, we lost the game, but I would have. Don't get me wrong, the game was a terrible game. It was a terrible game to watch, but I would have been content with a 0-0. Because for me,
yes,
like it's not the best result, but it's not the worst either. Now, don't get me wrong, I have confidence that we'll win in the second leg. I'm not, thinking that we're not going to proceed into the final. But it's just it leaves a sour taste because now I feel like the team are in poor form now. Like it's gonna have like question marks in terms of our next game. I know we're playing Accrington Stanley, and I probably shouldn't pass them, but we all know it's gonna be heavy rotation for that team. I'm looking at the Forest game, where I feel like Forest are in such rich vein of form. We can't produce the performance that we produced today and against Manchester United. Like I won't say they'll demolish us, but they'll get the win over us because the
I can't
way
say
they're playing right now, they're lethal when it comes to that counter attack. and that is what's going to cause us havoc on that game. So that's my concern in terms of our next Premier League fixture, where we've got to fix up. And the thing is, these players aren't going to play the next game to refine themselves. They're not going to play against Accrington Stanley. It's going to be squad, in my opinion, squad players plus youth players. Give
Yeah.
the young guys some professional minutes. Let them play at Anfield. It'd be a big occasion for them, like it is for the Accrington Stanley players. And you go back to work the following week on the Tuesday against Forest. So, how are you feeling about the Forest game? Are you nervous, or are you just feeling like, maybe we've got a bit of extra days to rest and train, and maybe we'll regain some form into that game?
Um, for no reason for I'm feeling nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm feeling kind of.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling. I say nervous is probably the wrong word. I'm not feeling confident. I'm not
definitely.
feeling confident in the day for the Forest game because as you alluded to,
Mm,
you all will allude to as well, is the fact of the day that Forest are playing very well.
very well, yeah.
I know this guy knew, I know what he's doing because like at Wolves at the day he was shit. You know what I mean, right?
Even at Tottenham.
Yeah, and at Tottenham as well, he was shit. But
Yeah,
he seemed to have found his niche
yeah,
somewhat
he found it.
with
Mm,
yeah with Nottingham Forest. He seemed to find his niche in there, and they're playing very well. Chris Woods, a lot of the players, Chris Woods, Morgan White Gibbs,
yeah.
you know what I mean. Um,
Hudson
like,
Odoi, Langard, they've got some good players there,
yeah,
man.
they got some good players. They got that guy that used to be with Man United. Um, he won
Langard, the right winger.
Alanga, yeah, Alanga.
Yeah,
He used to be
yeah,
Man United, didn't he? Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So they've got some really good players, and he's got them playing good. They're expressing themselves. Now,
yeah,
if they beat us 1-0, obviously in our ground, well then, he kind of don't feel confident that we're going to get a victory in their ground. Plus, at the day, the recent results at the day and the schoolboy errors at the day that's being made. Now, if they played Trent and the day Trent for this game against Forest, yeah, they're going to take the
mm,
piss out of us all day.
yeah. It's
They,
true.
you know, they, if they play Trent and then they in this against Nottingham Forest, way to Nottingham Forest, you might say it's all over. They're going to get the 3 points because all they're doing and they exploit that space. All they do, they employ low block, yeah, right, and exploit that space that then that Trent leaves. So he's best off paying Connor Bradley and then day for the full 90 minutes. He's best off doing that, but it doesn't fill me with much confidence, Ozzy. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No, I feel the same. We've picked up poor form at the worst time right now. Where I feel like the games are piling up in January as well. We've got a lot of games coming up, so it is a slight concern. I'm just gonna go through some of the comments. There's quite a few comments
Yeah,
surrounding the topics we've just discussed. Let me start with, where should we start with? Start from here. Actually, no. There's quite a few comments beforehand. So, big up Steve as always. He said, Honest died a sick concert today. That's why he came off. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure he would known about his illness before, but maybe it was just desperate times because we didn't have a lot of players available. Endo played well. Endo played really well today. I was
yeah.
very
I like
impressed
to
with him.
play very well.
Yeah. Uncle Ross in the house. Big up, of course.
Yeah,
Ravi said, big up, lad. Big up, Ravi, as always. Ravi said we should have fought harder from minute one. Yeah, it was one of those flat performances. We just didn't do anything. We didn't show any fight, any aggression, nothing. We were just really, really slow to it. It felt like a training game. It was just like no tempo whatsoever. Just yeah, it's lackluster altogether. Really weird game today. Steve saying Arna put in square pegs in round holes, failed miserably. Yeah, it wasn't required, to be honest with you. Mac, Gravenberg are tired. That's why our tempo is low. Yeah, and I've
yeah.
said
I
that about
agree. Yeah.
Gravenberg as well. I've said that about Gravenberg. He looks like he's tired. Today he just wasn't energetic. Like on the ball, he was okay because obviously he's technically a good player,
Mm.
but his energy levels were very low today, and that was quite evident because he wasn't, for me, roaming around the pitch. He hardly carried the ball. He only had one moment where he had a shot on goal, and he had a couple seconds of dribbling there. But other than that, he very rarely got the ball and like took past a player or anything like that. So yeah, it's evident,
Do
and
you know
this
what?
is why
So to
yeah,
concuss. Tottenham goals. You know what I will actually do? I will
Mm,
actually sort of like have sort of like Gravenberch, apart from obviously the FA Cup, yeah.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
have Gravenberch and they missed 2 games while resting for 2 games. Do you
Mm,
know what I
mm,
mean? And just play Endo and McAllister. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And McAllister, and then
We'll have to do that at some point. We will have to do that
you have
because
to,
he can't
have to.
play every game. It's not like he will get burnt out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I know he's having a great season, but you still have to manage players in a certain way. And obviously, injury record wise, he's got a good injury record, but you still don't want to, take advantage of that. So for me, we have to be smart in terms of squad rot. And I don't feel like we rotate the squad enough. We should do a lot more.
mm,
Steve saying Ravi in the house. Ravi says, I know away games are harder, but why do Liverpool fans say if it was at Anfield we would have won? Using poor excuses, we should play to win home and away, no matter what the outcome is. If fans are using that as an excuse, for me, that's not a valid reason.
cool.
We beat them 6-3 at Tottenham's ground a few weeks ago. It wasn't that long ago. So that's not an excuse that because away from home, that's why we lost. We didn't play very well today. It's as simple as that. And obviously, alterations to the team may have cost us towards the end as well. So I don't think that that's a valid. So if fans are saying that, for me, that's not a good excuse, in my opinion. Steve saying Spurs will have new signings in their team in the second leg. We will have the invisible man in our team from Cheap Block FSG. Yeah, Steve's not happy with FSG movements right now. Nick says, big up Nick. He says, last 2 games are worrying, facing Forest. Yet, next, another tough one. Yeah, it certainly is, Nick. Steve says, we only have one fit centre back now. I know. FSG still saying we have enough cover. FSG just don't want to pull out the wallet right now. That's all it is, man. Steve saying Bradley Simicast played well today. Yeah, they did well. I thought Simicast looked rusty, but I was very impressed with Bradley. I think his all-round game was very good today. Very
Mm,
good. Ravi saying from watching Coppish, reports of Slot already saying he doesn't want to buy in Jan.
yeah,
So with that attitude, we can kiss goodbye to the league. That might not be from his point of view. It might just be what has been communicated to him that we're not looking to recruit. So
yeah. Because remember, a lot of people got to remember that he's just a head coach.
he's
He
just a
don't have
coach.
enough say in the transfers. He
Exactly.
he just does what he's told. So I can't really
Yeah.
blame Slot in that sort of
No,
way.
no, no.
I
I
can't
don't. Yeah.
because he's just got to do what he's told. He's a head coach. He's not like obviously Klopp. Where Klopp was a manager, and they can probably have more of a say. He's
Yeah.
just a head coach, and that's how they want it, really.
Exactly, exactly. So he said when Trent Diaz Nunes came on, we increased our tempo. We did, but I felt like for me the change, the biggest sort of turning point was putting Endo in midfield and bring Konate because I feel like McAllister was doing a good job at the time. He was controlling the midfield, so I didn't feel like that was necessary. And Endo looked very settled in that defense. So for him to come forward as well, I just don't feel like that was the right call. I think the 3 players that came on, I was surprised they all came on at the same time, but they
Mm.
were needed. To be fair, like Trent was needed because we needed a bit more creativity. Diaz, we needed a bit more. To be fair, I personally wouldn't have played Diaz today. I thought Gakpo was doing a fantastic job on the left hand side.
Yeah,
I
he
would
was.
rather,
I don't know why he took him off.
yeah, I would have kept Gakpo throughout the whole 90 minutes and just save Diaz for next week because we're gonna need Diaz to play against Forest because that's a team where we're gonna have to try and utilize our pacey players and take advantage of Forest, who are gonna play a very low block type of football. So I would have rested Diaz. I would have involved him in this one. Nunes came on. Yeah, I guess at the time we needed a different because for me Jota had a poor game. I don't think Jota was good today. He had a couple of moments where he, did a couple of nutmegs here and there, but otherwise, I don't feel like he was as involved as I would have liked him to have been. So I understood the Nunes thing, but I was just quite surprised that all 3 came on at the same time. Maybe, spread it out a little bit, but I don't know. Arne Slot, doing what he wants to do at that time. Ravi saying, Slot, how much time do we need to assess the team? Blood, you have had 6 months now. It was, he knows the squad. I think there's a lot of players in the squad he just doesn't trust. So that's why he's using the same players every week now. And that's a concern. That's something that our owners should look at and be like, look, he's not happy with these players. We have to upgrade now and then move those players on at a later stage and help him out right now because right now we're fighting for all competitions and in a space of a few weeks that could evaporate as well. So we need to really um, back this manager, but FSGs don't think like that. Unfortunately, they're not ambitious owners. It's not the way they operate. So we got to take it with what we have right now. This is Steve saying to at Ravi, Arnold saying he don't want to buy players this month. He's just reading off the FSG hymn sheet. Club was for years, FSG out, but he's got no choice. It's part and parcel of the job. You're not going to bash the owners as well. Let's be honest. You got to play the game, isn't it? So
If
it's not.
you're head coach in the day, right? If you're head coach, it's simply that you know your place. That's what it is.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's true.
mean? If you're a manager, you can have a bit more say in what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
The head coach job is just to coach the players. That's all his job is to do. And what
yeah,
isn't they? So like you're the owner, yeah,
yeah,
and I'm a head coach. All you be doing in the day is getting in players and that you as an owner think that
mm,
they can fit the module and they of what is trying to be done, and I've got to coach them, even whether I like them or not. I have got to coach them. So he has
yeah.
no say. So one of those things,
And
mate.
whatever's available at his disposal is what he has to manage, and that's
Yeah,
just how it
simple
is
as
for
that.
a head coach, isn't
Simple
it?
as that.
So. Steve says that Ravi aren't going to assess the squad for the next few years. Perfect excuse for FSG not to buy players. I wouldn't. I don't think Arsenal's the problem. As Uncle, I just think that's the way we operate as a club. We just don't buy players, left, right, and center. It's just not the way we do things. So I don't think Arsenal has a lot of input to that kind of move where he wants certain players. He will have to buy this time and wait until he's given the green light from FSG that these players are coming through.
Mm,
So I don't think this is Arnold Slot saying he doesn't want, because let's not forget he mentioned Zubimendi in the summer that was a player that he wanted. Managers don't normally name a player that they've missed out on, if that makes sense. So it was quite obvious that was a player that we needed, and we just didn't get him. So we've always needed these players that we keep referring to, centre back and DM, all that sort of stuff. We know we need these players, but it's not the coach. It's coming from the owners. They're not willing to spend at a time where it is a crucial point of our season. But
mm, mm.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then Steve says, Arnold going to run his squad into the ground next 2 years. That's why Trent, Virgil, Salah, Matt Konate, Gamba need to leave by 2006. I hope not. They need to stay on board, in my opinion. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish reading off the comments very shortly. I have another guest that's going to come on the show now, and that is JK. Big up, JK. How you doing, bro?
I'm all good, bro. I hope you're cool. Uncle Rod's as well. Hope you're
How you
cool.
doing, sir? You good?
I'm all good. We should have played you today. Look with that shirt on. We should. You could have played today, bro. You might have done something better, you know.
Thank you, sir.
JK, talk to me.
yeah.
What do you think of the game today?
Like for me, that game there was a game where we sort of already knew that we just wanted to keep it like a 0-0, 1-1, low
Yeah,
key sort of first, second gear sort of game. And I seen it, but when I seen the lineup, I was thinking, maybe we're gonna play third, fourth gear, maybe. Like everyone was there, Salah, Yota, and Gapco. So I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't do nothing, and that's what the game was. It was like a first leg sort of affair. No team really wanted to win it, and it ended up like a really dire sort of affair. But I also see it like this: we've had two games where we haven't been great. It didn't really cost us because, like, we took a point against United, our number
yeah,
one arch enemies, at
yes,
home. So we in a game that we should have lost in a way, and then we've lost a 1-0 in a two-legged affair game
yeah,
away, 1-0 away. I'll take that. Where we should have really beat them. Come on, Tottenham not great. We should have beat
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So I'm not going to go OTT with it and say, we're destroyed. We're really bad right now. We are pretty bad at the moment, but it hasn't really cost us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't get battered today 4-0 in the first leg, and we didn't lose to United 3-2 on Sunday.
Mm.
So we should sort of count our blessings that it hasn't really cost us.
Yeah.
Also,
That's a
JK
good.
as well. Also, JK as well. A lot of people got to remember we could have won that game on Sunday as well.
Oh, of course.
There was two
Yeah.
chances that was had one by Verge, really, he just missed the target. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and obviously McAllister then when he's headed it, but the header needed a bit more strength in it. Anyhow, he had more strength in it. That's going in. So it wasn't as if sort of like that like Man United could have won it, because not just you, but I heard other people say this. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man, we should have lost against Man United, this and that. The only basing that the fact that they sort of like Maguire had that chance towards the end. Now, if he was such a shit player, he probably would have put that away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my argument on Sunday was the fact that we actually made it easier for them to play the way they want to play. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the spaces that were left, because basically they was just attacking Trent's side. As for today now, do you know what I mean, right? My problem was at the day is like him moving people around when he didn't need to. Do you know what I mean? You know, I know I'm frozen, but I'll still carry on. You know what I mean? Moving people around when he didn't really need to move people around. Do you understand what I'm saying? He could have just kept the same formation, took a 0-0, yeah, and then when you go to Anfield, then we just pattern them up at Anfield. Do you know what I mean? You didn't need to move people around in order to try to win the game. Do you know what I mean?
That's the prime one he did was that Endo move. Why move Endo when he's done a great job all game? Keep it like that. No need to bring Kanate on. And Kanate was the guy who messed it up. Solanke took him to India. Where was Kanate going? You know, Kanate was like running out the stadium, bro. And Solanke just turned inside, passed it to the next guy, and he scored. So for me, that move right there, the Endo move, I was like, if it's not broke, no need to fix it. Leave Endo there, keep it cushy, 0-0. Yeah, cool. So that move right there cost us, you know.
Yeah. What did I say to you? Before I go, yeah. What did I say to you at the beginning of the show? I said I'm old school, isn't it? So I'm old school, and there's an old saying in the day, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do you know what I mean? Said exactly the same things what you said, Asma. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's like taking your car to a mechanic at the end of the day, right? And a mechanic asks you, then you want to fix the car. What's wrong with it? And you tell him nothing. The first thing the mechanic's going to say is, "Why did you bring it here for?" "Oh, I don't know. I just want it fixed." Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense that you changing something at the end of the day, right? That is not broken. It was doing well. Do you know what I mean? Because he played in what game did end up playing defense?
Southampton.
Yeah, he played. Southampton, and he played well.
He was very good.
He came up against his 6'4".
That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing is that Endo at the day, right, is shorter than me, because I think he's 5'2" or 5'3". Yeah. You see how high he jumped for that header?
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
Do you know what I mean? So listen, I'm sort of like, you know, I'm literally kind of like, you know, literally sort of like confused of why he would have changed it. And I think that was the turning point of the game. Yeah, and plus as well that, you know, we also got robbed in there because the guy that scored it shouldn't have been on the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
He shouldn't have been on the pitch. That's another cock up at Tottenham's ground. Happened before, you know, and they did it again. He's just mad. Yeah. But listen,
sorry to cut across the other, mate. I'm gonna pop off now because I'm frozen. I'm gonna pop off now. But Oz, I'll message you in a week, yeah? I'll message you in a week. Thanks for having me on the show, bro. Thanks for having me on the show.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Take care, bro.
Take care, bro. Always good to be in your company, my boy. Take care, yeah?
Bro. See you soon. Take care, bro. Thank you. But JK, I have to be honest, you're spot on, man. Like, for me, that was the big turning point, was the Endo alteration to the team. I don't think it was necessary at the time. He looked so comfortable in that centre back position. And you know when you've got a player that's not normally playing somewhere and they looked, you know, stable at the time, you don't need to move him around. Because I feel like Kanate just didn't look fully fit at all. And I didn't want him to play in this game. And I think he only brought him on because of the threat that was coming from their left-hand side where Timo Werner came on, and then obviously he exploited Trent quite a few times. So I thought maybe he thought Kanate come on and, you know, cover the ground. But the thing is, Endo could have done that job anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's a tactical tweak, isn't it? So for me, it didn't make sense for him to do that. I feel like he messed it up where everything looked a bit more stable. It's just that we needed that sort of like that groundbreaking moment to get the goal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Look, at the end of the day, we've got a month until the next game against these guys, and that's the annoying thing about it. If it was
Yeah,
next week, we'll soon forget about that 1-0 lead. It's got a month,
yeah,
they're going to milk it. They're going to milk that, we did you in the first game, and they're going to have a month now to like just like, treasure that moment.
yeah,
Hence why that Forest game can't come quick enough for me. I can't wait to play Forest on Tuesday. I'm
yeah,
thinking now, we've had these two sort of games where we've been sort of lackluster and that. We'll
yeah,
have that game on Saturday is a blessing in disguise. I'm happy it's not a big dog,
yeah,
like a Villa, Man City, Arsenal at home or away, whatever. It's just like a Accrington Stanley. Cool. Let's deal with that. And
yeah,
then full focus on Tuesday to get them 3 points they took off us. Get them 3 points back on that
okay.
table. That's for me number one priority. And I can't wait for that game, Bring
Yeah,
Forest back down to earth. And I think you've got to understand, I think football is a game where confidence is important, but also showing not too much respect for the opposition. I think against Real Madrid and Man City in them two games where we beat them 2-0, 2-0, we didn't show them too much respect. We showed them we're the boss here. And I think against United, we didn't show that. And against Tottenham, we didn't show that. And what happened? We didn't get a result.
no.
So I
The
think,
United game, I felt like we played the occasion rather than the actual game. That's what it felt like to me, and that's a
yeah,
bit
I
of a
would say, yeah. And I think their fans and players were more G'd up
they
for
were
that game.
uplifting.
Look, Mano and Ugarte had their best games in a United shirt this
Season.
season against us.
Mhm.
And
So,
look what happened. They still didn't beat us, though.
no, no,
It
you
feels
think
like
they
a
did the way
defeat.
they're celebrating.
Yeah, the way they're celebrating. Look, Tottenham going to do it as well now. We're the
Yeah,
best team in the world right now, So anything like that is like a big thing, United celebrating. I've heard they did like bus like parade and everything. United getting a point at Anfield 2 seasons in a row.
yeah,
Uh, but this Tottenham game for me, it's not the end all. I just
I
feel like we're not on top of our game right now. It's January.
yeah.
The transfer window's open, Ozzy, and I don't believe we're going to add to that transfer window.
Uh,
I think the owners are sort of taking the piss a little bit too much. Look how many windows we've had now, yeah? We haven't done
yeah.
this time last year. We were in the same position. We were top of the league, beat
Yes.
Newcastle 4-2, first game in January. And what
Yeah.
happened? And look what happened. We didn't bring no one in.
Mm.
We weren't going to bring no one in. And with this news about the guys might sell to Musk and stuff, that's definitely put another like lock key
Yeah,
on the transfer budget.
I really
You
hope there's
know?
no truth to that. Really hope there's no truth to that.
Oh, you and me both, brother. Me and you both. If that guy comes in, expect a big X in the centre circle at Anfield. You know? that's what's going to happen right there. There's going to be a big X there,
It's true.
and it's going to be really cringe. And that's
Yeah.
what I don't want our club to go that way. I think, I'm not a big fan of FSG, but I'm willing
Yeah.
to keep them brothers.
Do you know what? You know what? That's a fair point. I would rather, and that's gonna sound wild, but I would rather keep FSG than have Elon Musk.
That's how bad that is, yeah.
He's gonna have his robots like fill up the crowd space and stuff like that. I don't want to see none of that stuff in the crowd. So that's the last person I want, to take over our club because he's just he's not a football man. For us, it's like we need owners that have an understanding of the game and
Mhm.
understand what it is to to run a football club in terms of being a football fan. We don't just want another business owner or someone that's very wealthy because for me that doesn't really help. So yeah, crazy, crazy. I really hope there's no truth to those rumors, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I,
but for
I think
me,
yeah,
I was just gonna say like FSG,
yeah,
if they're winners, and like for me, Edwards and the other guy who's from Bournemouth, them two guys, if they're
yeah,
winners and they want to win, they should say now to like I said last year, Jurgen Klopp was ready to tell the world he's leaving Liverpool. And Edwards was ready to walk in a few days later. So he had connection with the club this time last year.
yeah,
Okay, he could have said to the owners there and then, say, hey, lads, John Henry, if you want us to win the Premier League title, because Edwards already in the club, get Klopp another DM for
yeah,
so that just in case we've got some toughness in that midfield. And what did we do? We did nothing. Klopp made his
yeah,
video. Edwards walks in. we're in the same sort of scenario. It's like deja vu here,
Yeah,
like a Dutch edition of it.
yeah.
uh,
It's happened
and
far
and
too
we're
many
doing the
occasions for
same sort
Liverpool.
of thing. We will not
Mm,
buy no one this summer, this January transfer window. We will buy no one, even
no,
if it was Elon Musk in there. Like for me, nah.
yeah,
But we're not buying no one, and I think that shows you. I think back in the days when we won the Champions League, that transfer window that came after was for me everything you need to know about the owners.
yeah.
Happy go lucky. If we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. We're gonna get paid anyway.
That is
Um,
very true. That is
and
very
that's
true.
why for me, Jurgen Klopp is a big, big plus for them guys. Like they should really count their lucky blessings that Klopp came in and did what he did. He
Yeah.
turned 300 million into 5 billion. No businessman in this world can do that. Which guy can do that? Jurgen
It's
Klopp did, and
yeah.
and he did it on a real bad like budget as well. He wasn't given really the best computers and the best offices in Manhattan. He was
No.
given like a little garden shed
Yeah.
in Liverpool,
Yeah.
and he still did the damage. So for me, Arne Slot, bro, if you want to be successful at Liverpool, you got to open your mouth a little bit. And like Uncle Rod was saying, that he's a head coach now, he has no say. I
Yeah.
understand that you don't really have a say, but for me, if you're a football guy and you're a
Mm,
football manager of a club like Liverpool and you're on top of the Premier League table and the Champions League table, you're going
yeah.
into that office soon as January window opens saying, you know what, I need this guy to help
Mm.
me win them 2 titles. And I
Put
don't
pressure on
think
the owners. Mm,
put pressure on the owners. They've had a lucky break, them guys. Come on.
yeah.
They've never
Yeah.
had it harsh. The only time they really had it is when they sort of put them people on leave, over coronavirus times. They put
Yeah.
some workers on leave and stuff. So
Yeah.
realistically, they've had a smooth sort of sailing, and I think it's about time. Slot, if he really wants to be successful in this season, put his
Yeah.
foot down a little bit. If you took any Slot away from Liverpool now, okay, them owners would be in a pickle. Who they're going to put in charge to carry on
Yeah.
this? Like, what
Yeah.
are the owners? What's the reason of it all? It's about winning. That's what it's all about, winning.
Yeah.
And if you win, the money comes rolling in. That's the best business move you can tell them guys. Like, if we win this
Yeah.
league title and we win the Champions League title this year, how many tops are we going to sell next season for the Adidas? Like Adidas coming in,
Yeah.
everyone will want a new Adidas top. Champions League winners and Premier League winners.
Premier
They
League winners.
the
Yeah.
it will go out the roof. Them sales of the top next season, and I
Yeah.
prefer Adidas to Nike anyway. But I'm just
I do
saying,
though.
next season they will sell a record number of shirts. 100%,
Yeah.
100%.
That yeah, that's very true. I'm just hoping behind the scenes. Obviously, I don't think Armstrong would ever publicly let us know what is going on in terms of his discussions with the owners. But I do hope behind the scenes that he is putting pressure on the owners to provide some sort of transfer targets for us this month. Because right now, if you look at our squad, we've only got Van Dijk, that is a fully fit centre back. I know Konate is returned, but he's not match fit in my opinion. Kwanzaa's
Oh,
ill.
hello.
I'm not sure
Hmm.
what the magnitude of that is. Hopefully, he'll be back soon. And then Gomez is out for a few weeks now. So, we're struggling in terms of that defense point of view. Yes, I know Endo and Gravenberch could do a makeshift job, but they need to be utilized for our midfield. So for me, it shows that there are gaps in the squad that, if they're refined, then we can definitely go all guns blazing and really charge and try and win as many tournaments this season. Because let's be honest, if we don't recruit and we're in situations where our poor form continues, where we're dropping points and we pick up, touch wood, hopefully it doesn't, but we pick up, injuries to crucial positions, it could derail our whole season. All of this hard work that we've done will go down the drain, like it has done in the past. Because as Liverpool fans, we have witnessed it. We've been on the top in January on numerous occasions, but we've
Last season.
fallen
Hmm.
apart maybe due
Yep.
to financially that we haven't recruited in January, or it's been down to from a footballing point of view where the players have been overworked. But the reason why the players have been overworked is because we don't do big squads. We don't have big squads under this FSG regime. They don't like to have too many extra players. It needs to be like two per position, and that's pretty much it. So for me, it's a concern. And you're right. If they want to talk business, wouldn't it make sense to back the manager? Like, and I'm not asking for 100 million player like per position.
No,
It's
no.
not really that's not the profile that us fans are even asking for. We just need a player that fits the profile of being a deep playing defensive midfielder. Like OZWRLD. I'm just gonna say a name, but it doesn't have to be OZWRLD. It can be that type of player. We
But
need a
he's the
centre
guy
back.
though. Hmm. He's the
We need a
guy.
centre back
Like,
that can
you
come
know.
in, and these are the players that we need that will improve the team. And look, if we're able to continue this good form into the coming months, who's to say that we can't get two, three, four trophies? But we have to
Hmm.
be backed for that to happen. Right now, it's a very difficult task for that to happen. So for me, if they are really about their money, then they will back the manager because that backing them with two players. I'm not saying get a whole lot of players, get one or two, get two
Yeah,
players this month. That will help us, and then you can kind of forecast other players for the summer. But right now, we need two players to come in and do a job for us. And if
like
we're
for,
able to be
Mhm.
successful, every competition that we're in, you will generate a lot of money. Imagine the revenue you get from winning the Champions League, the Premier League, from advertising and
Oh,
merchandise. All that.
you could
Like it would
charge
be
double. Yeah,
exactly. It will go
it's
sky
mad.
high. So they have to think in that way as well. Look, if we I'm not trying to put this energy out there. What if we don't win anything this season? What if that happens? You can't rule it out. Nothing's impossible, right?
Hmm.
If we mess up this season, that's on FSG because
Simple
they
as.
didn't help us out when we really needed to capitalize on a strong
Yep.
position. And you mentioned that example of the Champions League when we won the Champions League. That summer we had was probably the worst summer we've had in terms of what we brought in quality wise.
Hmm.
At that time, as fans, we probably felt like we were on top of the world. We just won the Champions League.
Yeah.
They never had that feeling as owners. Because if you did have that feeling, you're thinking, do you know what? We've got an elite squad right now. Let's add two, three more big names. And
Yeah.
then you continually have a strong squad week every season. But that never happens. So for me,
And that's the
look,
old Anfield way. Yeah, that's the old
yeah,
Anfield way. Do you remember in the old days, Dalglish and
yeah,
stuff, they'd win it. Next season, you
yeah,
get another two classic players up
that's
in
it.
there.
That's it.
Bro, that was the way to do it. And we haven't
Yeah,
done that in yet. And the thing is, the money involved in football nowadays, there's more
yeah,
possibility of doing that.
yeah.
And we still don't do it. You know,
It's
FFP and all these sort of things, they've used that to their advantage because we didn't buy no one. Because this time last year, do you remember the FFP sort
yeah,
of ruined January transfer window? That
yeah,
gave FSG another excuse not to spend, bro. And
yeah.
that was, I knew,
We've
and it
got to
was
be
sort of
careful.
trailed on into the summer as well. You know, it was still that talk about Man City and this, and everyone was like tight with it. And FSG were thinking, oh, happy days. We don't have to
Yeah,
spend nothing again.
yeah,
Klopp's going anyway, so we don't need to buy anyone anyway. And also, the
yeah.
Chiesa deal was a club signing, not a slot signing,
It looks like
because
it. Yeah.
it's 100% club signing. That was just to,
Mhm.
like, you're giving the guy 120 grand a week. That's like nearly 500,000 a month, you know. You could have gave that to Zucaveni. You know, like
Yeah,
for me now, if you brought Tukameni in and you played him with Gravenberch, you've got a solid base in that midfield. You could play
mm,
McAllister, Sabotla, or Curtis, even Curtis Jones in that 10
yeah,
position. And we
yeah,
will be solid to win anything you want. The Premier League, 100%, because Chukwemeni won't be playing against Real Madrid in the Champions League, for example. But for me,
yeah.
Premier League, you took Chukwemeni into that squad, happy days. We're winning it. You know, I just feel like I don't know what Edwards is doing or the other lad from
And he's on holiday,
Bournemouth.
so he's not doing anything other than enjoying the sun. So yeah,
What do they actually do? You know, like for me, even if you got a bargain basement signing right now, it would help.
yeah.
Like you know, like a number six guy who
It doesn't
could.
need to be a world beater. This is the thing I'm trying to say. It doesn't need to be a world beater. It just needs someone that can come in and do a decent job for us. Like because we're lacking quality and I think we're lacking numbers in certain areas as well. So I'm not expecting us to sign like a 60 million, 80 million, 100 million type player because that's not how Liverpool do business, unfortunately. We don't really go into that manner. So we're in such a strong position. It would be a shame if we don't capitalize. But I
Chelsea.
honestly don't see anyone else. I don't see we us signing anyone at all. That's not me trying to be a downer. I
Yeah,
just
but that's
don't
the
see it.
truth. That's the
Mm.
truth, you know. And Chelsea are even looking at Mainu, you know, like
Audrey.
yeah, like they're like because I think Man United want to sell everyone. Like even the latest rumors I heard, like Rashford
Yeah.
may go to AC Milan. So
Yes,
that
I heard that
Darwin
as well.
Nunes, no wonder Darwin played pretty all right today when he came on. He was like, "Yeah, that Milan move ain't happening. I'm gonna end up staying
Yeah.
here. I might as
Got
well
put in
do
a shift
something."
now. Yeah.
Darwin looked better today. Like I got a picture
He
of
did.
Darwin, and he just looked a bit sharper, like he was awake. Like in the United game, bro. I seen a
Yeah.
phase of Darwin. He left the nightclub. You know that sort of move where you leave the nightclub and you're just all over the place. He looked like that. But for
Yeah.
today, he just looked like he was in the program and he looked sharp. He had that little run for
Yeah.
Salah. That's what for me. I just want Darwin to do
Yeah.
them little
He's more direct
runs,
today. Very direct. Yeah.
bang. You know, like that little
Mm.
shot he had. That should like he should
That
have
was
scored
unlucky.
maybe one of the two. You know,
Yeah,
that
that
little
was
flick he
unlucky
did on
to
the
be fair.
corner, that was like, that's a
Yeah.
striker who wants to play. That, you know,
Yeah.
simple thing like that shows me he wants to play, you know. And
Yeah.
why would he look like that against United? I don't understand it. How can you change your energy so much from United game? Like it was,
Yeah.
he did nothing. He couldn't even
No.
find his feet. And today he looked sharp. Like, you know
He looks
what?
sharp.
He could have scored that goal, but Salah put him through. I was thinking, bang, go on,
Yeah.
you know, but the goalie saved it. And that was his debut, the goalie as well. Can you believe it?
Yeah, young kid. Just I think he's just been signed, isn't he? So yeah, young kid made his debut. He had a shaky start, but yeah, he looked alright at the end. He made a good few saves later in the game, and yeah, probably the probably the man of the match as well because he saved them at some point. So yeah,
Who would
very
you play,
disappointing result.
Ozzy, for
Yes,
the Forest game up front then? Like the front three? Who would you pick for the Forest game?
I would try and go for our strongest lineup, and that would be Gakpo on the left,
Hmm.
Diaz through the middle, and then Salah on the right. I
Yeah.
think we need to. Because they're going to play the low block. That's just the way they're set up. So we need to try and definitely use our pacey players in those front areas and try and not hit them on the counter because I think we'll have a bit of the possession, but I feel like we need to go at them in certain occasions. So Gakpo to be a bit more direct on that left hand side. Diaz playing that false nine role might suit us
I
because
think it will.
you don't have like a physical type of striker that's up against two centre backs, and that's the type of striker they like to play against anyway because they're quite a physical team anyway. So I feel
Hmm.
like Diaz in a free role might suit the way we play. So I'd go for those three. I think they're the ones that are pretty much suited from a tactical point of view. But I also feel like they're the ones that are in form as well. So who would you start in that game?
I'm starting Diaz with Gapco and Salah on each side because Diaz will keep hold of the ball. He's the number
Yes.
one guy in the Premier League for me. Ball retention, he's like so good at it. And I think in a game like Forest, we need a guy like him because
Yes.
they're going to be up for it. Their fans, the cameras, the TV, everything. You know, they're going to chuck everything. Man City fans will be in the crowd. Arsenal, even, you know, they're going to be supporting them. You know,
Yeah.
so for me, I'm going to play Diaz because he's going to hold on to that ball, and
Yeah.
we need that in that game. It's going to be a bit hectic, I think.
Yeah.
100%, we've got to get 3 points there. I just
100.
like 100%. So Diaz for me, I'm starting them three. It's the
Mm.
midfield for me. I think Gravenberch looked really tired today against
He did.
Tottenham
He did. I said
yesterday,
that earlier on
and
as well.
so he'll have the weekend off. So
Yeah.
he's got days to sort of recuperate a little bit. He won't be
Yeah.
playing, and that's a good thing. Virgil as well. I think he needs a little bit of a break, 5 days or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so happy we've got Accrington Stanley in the cup. We
Yeah.
didn't need like a Man United, Arsenal, that type
A
of game. We
strong
didn't
Premier
need
League
that.
team.
So God
Yeah.
sort of blessed us in that way. You know what I mean? He's like, lads,
Yeah.
have Accrington Stanley. So that's cool. Ready for the
Mm.
Forest game.
Yeah. One area for me that is a slight concern is the number 10 role because I feel like we're definitely missing Sabozlai in the last two games, and I feel like that's probably it reflects the scorelines as well because we lack that intensity in that final third of the pitch,
Hmm.
and I feel like Curtis Jones, is a good technical player, but he doesn't have that burst of speed on the ball. He's not energetic where he's pressing from the front. And I feel like we missed something. That's why we probably played at such a slow tempo today. And probably against United as well, because we don't have someone to be that sort of focal point from a pressing point of view in terms of leading the line or pressing where he's making the opposition a bit more on edge because they've got to release the ball because the players are charging at them so quickly. I feel like we've lost that impetus as a front line. So I don't know how severe his illness is, but I pray that he's fit for that game. I don't expect him to play this weekend. Hopefully, he is fit for that Forest game because I feel like he's going to have a real important role. And I know some fans, they have a split opinion on Sabozlai. I feel like what he brings to the table is what we need as a collective,
Yeah,
as a team. So
yeah.
fingers crossed he's available because for me, if it's Jones again,
Nah,
I'm going to be a little bit
Jones.
concerned.
Like Jones. He has 2 games, then he's not good.
It's
Plays good two
consistency,
games, then
yeah.
he's not good, and that's his. He did it again now. He's had 2 bad games. Like today, he wasn't really involved in the game. He was better than he played against United. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, yeah.
he wasn't really impact. Like he had 2 games to like go and win it for Liverpool. The United game and the Tottenham game. He should have just thought, you know what, Szoboszlai's not well. I'm going to take this spot, next to
Yeah.
Gravenberch and McAllister, and he hasn't done it. And he always has these chances,
Mm,
Curtis, but he just don't seem to grip it. I don't
yeah.
know what that's all about. You're playing for Liverpool. You're in the team. You're in the first 11 on numerous occasions, and sometimes he plays really well,
Yeah.
but sometimes he don't get him. He's not involved in the game.
Yeah.
Same as Trent. Trent played today. He played pretty well when he came on. He looked like a different player than he did on Sunday against United. Um, but for me, Curtis again.
Mm,
Szoboszlai needs to sort of. I would give Szoboszlai some if he's well enough. I heard he's still not well.
okay.
So you've got 2 days until that game now. It's Thursday now.
Yeah.
Szoboszlai needs to play at least 45 minutes in that, at least, to
Against
get him
Aston
ready.
Villa or Forest game?
He has to play the Forest game. I think his
Yeah.
energy will be important in that game. I
Yeah.
think they'll eat Curtis up because he's like a traditional British sort of player. And I think
Yeah.
Forest will eat him up, where Szoboszlai is a little bit different. They might not be able to handle his running
Yeah.
power and stuff. Hence why I think him instead of Curtis will be better for us in these games, in that Forest game. Yeah, 100%.
I think if Sabozlai is not available for that Forest game, I would go with Harvey Elliott. I don't know. I don't think that will be the case, but I personally would go for Harvey. I think Harvey Elliott still brings that energy where he does press very well. He's good at doing that. So I feel like he will still add something to our game where he might not be as powerful in terms of his running speed as a Sabozlai, but he can still be, bit not putting the right word, but a bit of a nuisance to the opposition where he's going to roam around quite a bit. He's going
Mm-hmm.
to press when required. And the thing with Elliot, he's got a great, passing range where he can thread through balls. So add the creativity to a low block team, which is what you need. You need players like that to unlock
Like that. Yeah.
stubborn
Yeah.
defenders like that. So for me, if Sabozlai doesn't start, it has to be Harvey Elliott for me. And that's not, me throwing Curtis Jones under the bus or anything like that. I just don't feel like he's shown good enough form for me to feel confident about him starting this game. I
Start the
don't
game.
mind him coming off the
Mhm.
bench, but I think Harvey Elliott has to start if Sabozlai's not available. So
Exactly. For me as well. Like for me,
yeah,
he will offer more than Curtis will in a
yeah,
attacking sense.
yeah.
Curtis needs to hit whole bench now. I think you got to try something different. Harvey Elliott didn't get no minutes again today.
No, that's really surprised me today.
Like him,
Very surprised.
Chiesa. Like why didn't Chiesa get 10 minutes?
Goodness.
He gets 120 grand though. Like he didn't get
I
10 minutes
know.
to play. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like I
know.
just don't understand that. Like give the guy like you don't know what's going to happen down the road. These guys need match fitness. These guys
They
needs to
do.
play football. Like it was 0-0. Even at 1-0, chuck on Chiesa. Chuck him on.
Just put
Like
him
you know
on, yeah.
what? Just hang around at the top. If the goal comes to you, shoot.
Got to
Like
take a
whatever.
gamble sometimes as well. Yeah, it's true. It's
I think
very true.
Slot sometimes is a bit too serious with it. I think he needs to sort of. I think Slot's at a stage now in his year of in the season. He's halfway through it now. He's
Yeah.
sort of realised, you know what? It's getting serious now. We could win this, that, and the other. So he's
I
thinking
hope
now in a different sense.
so. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's being a bit too cautious. I think football's a game where you have to pick and choose when to be cautious and when not to
Yeah.
be. And I think
Yeah.
he's at the stage now where I think he's been a bit too cautious. I think he needs to just carry on with the way he was doing it until
Yeah.
maybe the end month where it could be a little bit tricky, whatever. But carry on what you're doing. If it's not broke, like I've said before, don't fix it. Like everything was working
Yeah.
pretty smooth. I think just
Yeah.
United sort of surprised him. I think they surprised
Yeah.
him, but he should have watched the Man City game where they beat them 2-1.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
you know what I
Spot
mean?
on.
So they had it in them,
Yeah.
them lot. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think he made a mistake there. Today he went strong, but it didn't really work out. Why? Because I think
No.
we didn't really show the initiative to win it. Hence why it
Yeah.
didn't work. Why we looked a bit lazy, sort of. You know.
Yeah. That's what really surprised me today. Because when I saw the lineup, funny enough, I pretty much almost predicted the lineup. I just had the only player that I didn't have in my prediction was Conor Bradley. I had Trent starting at right back, but it was a very strong team. So I thought, you know what? He's going to be aggressive in this first half. Like he's going to try and get a couple of goals and then just settle it from there onwards and then bring players on as a formality. But we had no urgency in our game today whatsoever. It was really disappointing. And I hope it's not, his inexperience that's showing now because the last two games he's shown that the substitutions he's making, they're not the right ones at the time. So that's a bit of a concern for me because I think so far this season he's actually done really well when it comes to putting players on at the right time. Um, he's showing a bit of lapse right now in terms of changing too much. Like today,
Mm-hmm.
moving Endo around for me was the wrong call. Should have left
Oh, big
Endo
time. Mm-hmm.
in the centre back position, and I feel like even at the United game, we needed the different players to come on. Like Harvey Elliott came on too late, in my opinion. Like we needed those players to come in beforehand, so the timing wasn't right in terms of substitution. So it's a concern. But having said that, I still have faith in the coach. Like he's shown me enough to suggest that he can turn it around. I do feel like he's a coach that is still learning, not on the job as such. I feel that's a bit harsh to say that, but he's still learning because he's managing a club at the highest level now. So when you're
Mm-hmm.
doing that, you've got to learn the hard lesson sometimes. The Forest game was the hard lesson. The United game was a hard lesson because it was a team that's 14th on the table, but they showed up and they played a game plan that was stubborn for us, that we couldn't break them down. But we are Liverpool Football Club. That is the type of teams that we will be playing against. They will be stubborn. They will deploy the low block. So we've always got to find a solution to break them down. It's not going to be a one-off. Every team will play that against us because it's the formula now. That is how you
Yep.
stop Liverpool
Yep.
from succeeding. So hopefully he takes this on his stride. And I feel like the Forest game is going to be a big test. Has he learned from the first time? Has he learned from this Tottenham game and the United game? If we're seeing, cracks or if we're seeing another draw, or because for us, we've got high expectations. A draw feels like a defeat to me. That is literally
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
feels.
Right at that stage. Yeah.
So we're at that stage now. So if that happens at the Forest game, it's going to add more pressure on us. And this is not the month where you want to fall apart because games are coming thick and fast. Well, Champions League starts next week as well. We've got FA Cup
Mm-hmm.
this week. So all the competitions that we're participating, the matches are happening now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see what pans out. If you were to make a score prediction for the Forest game, what would you go for?
2-0 win for us.
Two now.
Because you know why? Because I feel Forest home team will be
Yeah,
trying to attack. We got to
yeah,
just do what they did to us, counter attack them like the way they did it to
yeah,
us.
yeah,
For me, that's why I need Trent playing. Switch it from defense to attack. Bang, have that, and
yeah,
that will be my tactics against them.
yeah. Give them a taste of their own medicine. So hopefully, yeah,
Exactly. Bring them back down to earth. I think they've
yeah.
been going on a bit too much. Like the media. Oh, these guys a threat to Liverpool and all this, that, and the other.
Oh, no, 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 no. They're not. They're not. They're not. If
Nah.
anyone's saying that, I'm not buying that. I think they're definitely there to challenge the top four, but not to challenge the title. That's quite far fetched if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
everyone's entitled to their opinion. But no, I don't think that's the case. I know that they've won 6 out of 6, so they are in rich vein of form. But you know, winning streaks come to an end as well. So hopefully we can do that next Tuesday. But JK, big up yourself
That's
for
right.
coming on as always. I'm sure we'll
Welcome, bro.
speak again very, very soon.
Take
But
care,
yeah,
bro.
thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate you. Take care. That was JK. Big up JK as always. So I'm just going to go through some of the comments and then we will close the show. Ravi says, questions we beat Forest with how we played tonight? Nope. We do not, Ravi. Yeah, we don't. We've got to improve dramatically if we are to get anything out of that game. Steve says, at Aussie, I would play counter attack against Forest. F up Forest game plan against us. Yeah, that's why I've gone for Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah as my front three because I do feel like playing that counter attacking football or that counter pressing football will definitely suit us in that fixture. We don't need to be full of possession. We need to try and hit them on the counter and really punish them. So no, I do see some truth in that comment there. CC Mainland have agreed new contracts with three of their players within days. FSC still ain't got three signed up with over a year to swell. What players have they? I haven't because I haven't been online much today. So let me know who the players are because that's crazy. Three players in the space of days. That's wild. But then they're trying to sell Ganacho and Mainu, which hasn't gone down very well. So yeah, craziness happening at Old Trafford. Steve says my team against Forest. 4-5-1 counter attacks. We've gone for Becker, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Simicast, Mo, Mac, Ryan Gravenberg, Dominic Szoboszlai, Jota, and Gakpo in 3-0. Fair enough. Um, Steve says Becker nearly messed up today, trying to be smart with the ball at his feet. Nearly in the goal. He did. It was yeah. He has those moments in him, unfortunately, but yeah, almost cost us. But thankfully, Virgil van Dijk was able to make that block. Sam Doe, big up Sam. He says right now it's very important that Native Americans play for Liverpool, such as Nunes. Yeah, in terms of the nationality, I'm not too like hugely fast in terms of nationality, but with Darwin Nunes, I feel like he's been at the club for quite a long time. Unfortunately, I just don't think he's hit the height. So me personally, I think it would be best for all parties for him to leave in the summer. He can go on to play at a high level, like at AC Milan, that type of level. He's capable of playing for that type of club. Um, Maybe we can sign another South American player. You know, there are a lot out there that can really change the way we play. So um, for me, Nunes, I think his time is numbered at the club. Um, but yeah, I think. Yeah, I would look for me. I would love to get Isak. That is the guy that I really want Liverpool to sign. I just don't think it's realistic. His value keeps going higher the more games he plays. He's scoring goals left, right, and center. So that would be my ideal replacement for Nunes. But we'll see what happens in the future. I'll big up yourself for your comment there. Steve says my 11 against African standing in the FA Cup. So Kelleher, Brad, Kwanzaa, Kanate, Simicast, Endo, Trey, Elliot, Morton, Jota, Nunes. Brad, Konate, Simica, Jota need to improve their match fitness, sharpness for league games. I definitely agree they do need to improve on that. Aldo says we need investment and reinforcement this January. The owners don't have ambition. You're completely right there, Abdul. They really don't. I really hope they fix up, but I just don't have high hopes of due to our track record with the owners. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case, unfortunately, but let's hope so. Steve says, Arn Rodgers 2.0. Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Just happy to be at LFC, has their ambitions to win trophies. I don't think that's the case. I do see ambition in this, I was going to say manager, he's not manager, this coach. It's the owners that aren't the ambitious ones. So I can't accept the Rodgers 2.0 for me. That yeah, that doesn't bode well with me. The Rodgers era wasn't a great one. He was full of himself. He was very cocky, thought he was better than he was, and it just never panned out. So no, I don't see Arsenal being in that sort of category. Steve says I would never take a job if I'm not allowed to do it to the best of my ability. If you're going to restrict me doing my job, I'm not going to. Yeah, but the thing is with Arsenal, he's used to this format. This is not a new format in world football. In Netherlands, it's very common. This is how they operate as a football club. In England, we've probably gotten accustomed to a manager having that responsibility for transfers and negotiating deals, all that sort of stuff. Across Europe, this is the format where they have a sporting director. He's the visionary of the club. He will sign players based on what he thinks should be the ethos and the philosophy in terms of how football should be played. And then they will appoint the coaches that replicate that idea. So that's how it works in those countries. So for Arne Slot, this is not new. This is something he's very accustomed to. Um, but for me, the owners to show a bit of ambition in terms of helping this manager, back him by signing a couple of players where we are slowly down in terms of the numbers, so we need to strengthen the squad, and because we are going for all of the titles this year. Whether we win them all remains to be seen, but we should definitely give it our all. And if we're not strengthening the squad, I feel like we could fall short, and that's not something that I want to see. But let's see. Let's see what happens. Steve says, allow anyone damage in my reputation. Fair enough. Steve said JK in the house, big up JK. And then yep, Nick is saying JK at the entrance. Um Steve said that Ozzie got some big hitters on the panel. Wow. Yeah, of course. Of course, I'm trying to get some more people on the show. So do be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna try and have a lot more Liverpool content creators in the coming weeks. So yeah, more new faces on the show, knowledgeable content creators that will feature on the channel. So yeah, do be on the lookout for that. Steve says, without new quality signs this month, watch our wheels fall off by March. We have done this dance before with FSG on Top Watch, incoming train crash. Yeah, it's a fair point there. It's a fair point. Uh, Steve saying Uncle Rod frozen. Don't stop him talking though. Yeah, yeah. He needed to finish his point, which is fair. That's him. Big up Steve. Ravi saying, I'm not blaming Slot, but how long can we go about getting reinforcement in to help win what we need to win? Yeah, it's definitely a valid point there, Ravi. I don't think Arnold Slot is to blame. It comes from the owners. It really does. Yeah, what's that? Big up to each other. Um, Ravi said, Steve, but Liverpool fans are happy to go along with what the club is doing. The moment we didn't buy anything to strengthen. Unfortunately, with some Liverpool fans, and I'm not trying to pinpoint or just to disregard anyone, but some do get brainwashed with this whole sort of PR propaganda from FSG that they are trying and they're doing this, they're doing things the right way. JK, shout out to JK, made that very valid point where when we won the Champions League that summer, we had Adrian, Elliot. Obviously, Elliot's a good player, but he was a young kid at the time. We didn't really strengthen the squad. Like when we've been in a top position, when we've won the Premier League or when we won the Champions League, we haven't we haven't gone to that next level to remain as an elite team, and that comes from ambition. That comes from a desire to win. And I don't feel like FSG are winners in that regard. They're good businessmen. They know how to operate business. They know how to make money. But for some reason, they don't take pride in their business projects of being successful. As long as they're bringing the revenue, that's all they care about, and that's a concern for me because when you're in sports, you're here to win. I'm not gonna go with this English mentality. Where it's like I took part, that's what counts. No, I want to win. If I'm involved, I want to win. That should be the mentality of these owners. And I'm not asking these owners to spend 100 million per player. Just buy the players that the coach needs. And I'm sure, there are a lot of realistic options there. I don't need to name drop players. There are a lot of players that could come in and help this current team right now. So whether this happens for this ownership, for me, I will go by off the track record. I don't see it. I don't see this owners, becoming ambitious all of a sudden. It's just not how it's going to work. So that's why there's a lot of sort of resentment with the ownership because they don't do enough. They don't take advantage of us when we're on top. When you're on top, you're supposed to do whatever you can to remain at the top. Like when you look at other sports like boxing or UFC, when someone becomes champion, they don't just, rely on their laurels. They become more aggressive. They more hungry to stay at the top because they know someone's always going to be after their title. So that's the nature of the sport. That's the nature of being a sportsman or a sports team. You've got to have that desire to always be at the top. And unfortunately, we don't get that ambition from our owners, which is frustrating, especially where we're Liverpool Football Club. We've got a lot of history, we've got a lot of heritage, but it's not reflected in terms of how we operate. Um, Steve saying letters to Uncle Rod's. Steve saying, and Arnold took Endo out defense to play midfield because he took Mac off. He did, but I think that was the wrong call. I would have let McAllister stay on the pitch. Um, And I would have brought on Kanate if I'm being honest with you. I know I mentioned the fact that Werner was getting good luck there, but I feel like it needs to be a tactical approach where Slot is telling to Endo, look, cover Trent. You need to cover him. You gotta make sure and Werner doesn't get anything from that side. That's what you gotta do. Not bring on Kanate. Kanate was just not ready. So for me, it wasn't the option to be fair. Um, she says at Ravi, I ignore most of the LFC fans, most of clowns and sheep because Blanco word. That's your words. Steve, not mine. Um, I think that's another comment there. Steve saying Spurs won the battle today. We win the war second leg. 100%. Like me personally, I'm not deflated about this result. I just feel like considering we had such a strong lineup, I don't think we played to our capabilities. And I think some of the tweaks in terms of changing personnel in the second half may have derailed us from getting the win today. But in terms of the second, I have huge confidence that we will go on and beat Tottenham and proceed into the final. I have huge confidence. So for me, it's not like oh you know our season's done now. We're going to be out of this cup. Premier League's going, and no, I'm not that type of fan. I'm not ready to throw the towel in right now. It's a poor result. Don't get me wrong, but it can be rectified when we play that second leg. Steve said if Elon shows football ambitions for LSU on the pitch, he's welcome to replace cheap broke FSG. I just don't like Elon as a person. So for me, it's a no for several reasons. But yeah, not for me. Steve said FSG policy to use used to be sell to buy, now they sell to sell only. Yeah, it keeps changing, doesn't it? Steve said Liverpool market value is 4 billion. FSG wants 6 billion. Greedy. I can't say the last word. It says if we want to win the title or Champions League, FSG have to pay out big bonuses to the players. That's why they do everything to stop us winning the title. That is bloody annoying if that is the case. But yeah, there might be some truth to that because a lot of the players that we have, they have decent salaries, not the best in sort of world football in the market, but the bonuses make up for that, if that makes sense, because we provide the carrot, the incentive to make sure that you perform to the highest level and then you will get your reward with bonuses at the end. So there might be some truth to that. Steve said this squad is too thin to be suicidal because they never mind going for the quad. No, look how great we've been over the years. There's been twice that we've actually been close to winning the quad, but the thing is we've fallen short because of our squad numbers, in my opinion. So if they showed a bit of ambition, it would be a different story. We would have made history by now. Steve says, won't have FSG ever back Klopp in the January windows when he had the centre back. Yeah, before crisis. We now have centre back crisis, no quality centre back signing done. You're right. That's why I don't have a lot of confidence, if I'm being honest with you, because we don't have a lot of fit players in the squad, but FSG won't see it that way. Steve says sell Nunes this year. In the summer, yeah, I would personally sell him as well. Um, Steve says at Ozzie Edwards, who were offered, huh? Were offered. I said Gordon last summer. No, that can't be true, Steve. They were offered Gordon, yes. Isak, I don't think they were offered Isak. They declined it and asked for Kwanzaa. Yeah, the Kwanzaa they asked for the Gordon deal, isn't it? And they also wanted Joe Gomez, yes, to be included, yes. Everyone who said no, total madness. The Gordon one, like Gordon's having a good season, don't get me wrong, but I still prefer Diaz in comparison to Gordon. However, Isak, if he was involved in these deals, then we've got another discussion right now because I didn't hear any of that. So if Isak was part of any discussion, then yeah, we've dropped the ball because now his fee is gonna be sky high right now. It's gonna be a joke. Steve says, have Bayern Munich got a sporting director? If yes, they splash the cash for their manager. I'm not sure if they do. I know a lot of German clubs do. I know Bayer Leverkusen and Dortmund do, and I think it used to be their former player. Salimodovic as well. He used to be the sporting director. I don't know if he is now, but they that is the format that they have as well. So yeah, they will have someone like that. Um, Everton refused to strengthen from a position of strength. That's why they need to sell LFC. They are stopping us from winning trophies. Very frustrating. Does a leopard change spots? No, that's FSG. They'll have any mission for trophies. That's probably a good analogy there. Um, Abdul says we got to get some new players in January to push to win EPO and UCL this season. We need left back, right back, DM, and number 9. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think for me, I would be pleased if we get a centre mid and we get as in a defensive mid and a centre back. Number 9 will be addressed in the summer. Left back, I think, will be addressed in the summer. Um, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. I'm not hopeful, but let's see. Abdul says we need to beat Spurs at Anfield 100%, and we need to beat Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup. Yep, I agree. We do. It will definitely be a second fold team, but still, we're sure we can get the win. We need to beat Forest. I'm concerned about that Forest game. I just really hope we turn up, really perform to our capabilities, and we'll definitely get the win. But it's going to be a tricky game. It's not going to be a walk in the park, in my opinion. Cesar Isak Gordon was offered to LFC last summer to meet the PSR rules. Said no, if that's the case. Sack them, please, because that's terrible. That's terrible business decision making there. But yeah, we'll see what happens in terms of the transfer activity at the club. Right now, it's non-existent, so we'll have to wait until the summer. But it is what it is. So that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And let's go through some of the comments. Thank you to Daz. Thank you to Nick. Thank you to Abdul. Thank you to Steve. Thank you to Ravi. Thank you to Sam. Big up Sam. I think it's his first time on the channel, so big up for your comment there. Big up to Uncle Roz for coming on. Big up to JK coming on the show earlier today as well. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for engaging. Appreciate it as always. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming content, I'll be doing a match preview of the Liverpool versus Accrington Stanley game tomorrow evening at 11 p.m. And then on Saturday, we'll be doing the live watch along of that game. 12:15 kickoff, which is far too early, but you know that's how they try they try and mess Liverpool about. But I'll be doing a live watching, so I'll be available from 12 in terms of the live watch along, and then we'll do a match reaction show later in the evening. So yeah, we'll do player ratings and of course full shows also. If you'd like to come on, a link will be available in the live chat. So just gonna got a couple more comments there from Steve. Social media again now. Ozzie, do a GoFundMe page for FSG to buy players. Why not? Let's see what we can do. But yeah, as always, guys, take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.